डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Hello, dear learners of Indian poetics. I welcome you to video lecture number 13 on Gunadosh theory. Gunadosh theory is not a major theory in Indian poetics. It is general rather than focusing on literary qualities or poetic qualities of any work of art. However, we understand that guna, merit, quality is important in every aspect of life, whether it is a human being or any object, anything. We always focus on quality. And the opposite of quality, the opposite of guna is dosha. Dosha means demerit, shortcoming, blemish, fault, or flaw. These things are always problems in human nature, human life, human world, and even various things. For example, we know in Ayurveda there is a reference to three doshas, three blemishes, and they are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. If they are the doshas, any of them is disturbed, imbalanced, the person would become sick or ill. And this is of course a physical thing, but in human nature also there are doshas. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. These are the doshas that affect human nature and create problems. If we look into the history of the world, we find that there have been wars, battles, violence due to such doshas. In the Mahabharata, in Kauravas, we find many doshas, many faults. And these faults, these qualities, bad qualities, created Mahabharata, the greatest war, one of the greatest wars in the world. The opposite of dosha is guna. And guna is very necessary in everything, in human nature, in human body, in worldly things, in art, in culture, in religion, and so on. This means that gunas create happy world if we have certain qualities. These qualities make a person personally happy, but at the same time, he or she provides happiness to others. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a reference to three types: Sattvic, Rajasic or Rajasi, and Tamasic or Tamasi. That is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. The word Tamas refers to darkness of human nature, and Sattva refers to qualities, good qualities, noble qualities, sublimities. So sublimity or the sublime quality is Sattvic, and Tamasic is lower quality, evil qualities, and the greatest fault of human nature. Duryodhan or Ravan are Tamasic. Ram and Krishna are Sattvic. And in the middle, there is Rajasic or Rajasi. Rajas is an element which is human element, which involves both good qualities as well as bad qualities. So these are the basic ideas of guna dosha, which is general, not in Indian poetics alone, but in human nature, in human mind, in human world. Narsingh Mehta, when he wrote his famous poem, famous song, which Gandhiji liked very much, Vaishnava Janato Tene Kahiye, Peed Parai Jane Re, and he enumerates the qualities which are of Vaishnava Jana. Vaishnava Jana is a noble person, and noble person has superb qualities, virtues. Peed parai jane re. Such a person always understands the sufferings of others. And Gandhiji liked this very much, and he took this idea as the model of an ideal person, Vaishnava Jana. For Gandhiji, Vaishnava Jana does not mean any creed or caste, but a noble man, a noble person, a person with sublime nature. It is guna. So, with the introduction to this theory of guna dosha, I just gave you the general idea of what gunas and doshas are. Now, guna means good qualities and dosha blemishes in literary compositions. Here we are connected with good qualities and bad qualities in literary qualities, literary compositions. In literature also, there are gunas, good qualities, and there are also doshas, blemishes. So guna dosha are everywhere, and they belong to literature, literary compositions also. Bharat Muni also referred to this theory in his Natya Shastra. Long back, Bharat Muni referred to this theory of guna dosha in Natya Shastra. Dandin and Udbhat made this theory the primary criterion of literary works. Dandin and Udbhat focused more on guna dosha and said that guna and dosha should be the criteria of literary work. It is the primary criterion of literary work. If the work is good, it should have doshas, it should have gunas. If the work is bad, it has doshas. Dandin called alankaras that enhance the beauty of kavya. Of course, Dandin focused on alankaras, embellishments, figures of speech, which increased and enhanced the beauty of kavya. The beauty of kavya is enhanced by alankaras. The body of kavya was decorated by alankaras, and he said that the body of kavya, like the body of a woman, is decorated by alankaras, by ornaments, by embellishment. And so kavya becomes beautiful with the help of alankaras. In Riti theory, gunas are related to style and language. And in Riti theory, gunas are directly connected with style and language. Actually, Riti theory is connected with style and language. What kind of language it has? Good language has good qualities, and if the language is not good, it has doshas. So we can say that right from Bharat Muni to other theorists, all focused directly or indirectly on guna dosha theory. Dandin devoted a section of the first chapter, Parichheda, to 10 gunas. And Dandin, in his first chapter, Parichheda, described 10 gunas. He described 10 gunas. Bharat Muni had not discussed about it. Bharat Muni referred to gunas, but he did not discuss them. He called gunas as the negation of doshas. According to Bharat Muni, gunas are opposite of doshas. It is exactly opposite of what dosha is. For example, when we say bad, then good is the opposite of bad. When we say humble, which is a gun, gentle, which is a gun, and the opposite would be insulting, humiliating, egoist. So they are the doshas. From grammatical point of view, we can say that many adjectives describe doshas, and there are many adjectives which describes gunas. Of course, they can be turned into abstract nouns like humility, humbleness, positivity. They are abstract nouns, and abstract nouns present gunas or doshas. Both good and bad qualities are described in grammar through abstract nouns. Gunadosh theory never became a major literary theory. In fact, Gunadosh theory never became very popular as a theory because Gunadosha is not theory like Rasa or Auchitya or Vakrokti. It only describes or discusses good qualities and blemishes. And they can be found anywhere, everywhere. When we evaluate anything, we always go to seek what are the gunas. In the same way, when we find anything bad, we find doshas there. So guna and dosha are general. They cannot be considered as a major literary theory in Indian poetics. It was related to Vaidarbhi Marga, the style of writing. However, it was connected more with the style of writing which was called Vaidarbhi Marga. In Natya Shastra, Bharat Muni described rasa theory. It is an encyclopedia of dance, music, poetry and drama. He discussed rasa as the Kavya Hetu. Bharat Muni's famous theory, rasa theory, has a very great impact on Indian poetics and Indian literature. Natya Shastra is a book written by Bharat Muni, which is an encyclopedia of dance, music, poetry and drama. He discussed rasa as the Kavya Hetu. He believed that the goal of poetry is rasa. Without rasa, there is no literature, there is no poetry. Poetry cannot exist without rasa. The theory of rasa was discussed in Alankara Shastra, which calls rasa as the soul of poetry. Later, in Alankara Shastra also, rasa was discussed, the theory of rasa was discussed, and it was called the soul of poetry, Atma of poetry. Bhamaha was the pioneer of Alankar theory. Bhamaha, who was a great theoretician, he was a pioneer of Alankara theory, and Udbhat and Dandin also supported this theory. And Udbhat and Dandin also supported Alankar theory. Bharat had discussed only 4 Alankaras. Bharat Muni had discussed only 4: Upama, Rupak, Yamak. Only 4. And these Alankaras reached up to more than 100 in number later. Later, the number of Alankaras increased and went up to 100 Alankaras. Riti theory was propagated by Vaman. Vaman was the propagator, was the exponent of Riti theory. He called it essence of poetry. He said that essence of poetry is Riti, the style. It is related to style with gunas. And he said that Riti theory is connected with style, which should have gunas. The style of writing should be sublime, should be great, should have gunas, and Vaman enumerated 20 gunas, and Vaman discussed and described 20 gunas. Dhvani theory, one of the most significant theories of Sanskrit poetics. Dhvani theory is one of the very important theories in Sanskrit poetics. Anandavardhan was its pioneer, And the exponent of this theory, Dhvani theory, was Anandavardhan. He called it the Atma of poetry. And he said that Atma of poetry, the soul of poetry, is Dhvani. He referred to spot theory propagated by Bhartrhari. He discussed and referred to spot theory. Spot means blast. And he believed that when a word is spoken, there is a blast which generates aesthetic delight. And it was propagated, this theory, spot theory, was actually propagated by very famous poet and king Bhartrhari. There is a very beautiful story about Bhartrhari, who has written about various subjects like Srungar, Vairagya, and so on. He was a great poet, though he belonged to a royal kingdom. He was a king, but he was also a great poet and poetician. He classified threefold dhvanis. Anandavardhan classified dhvani into three parts: Vastu dhvani, Alankara dhvani, and Rasa dhvani. Vastu dhvani is thematic. It is about subject or theme of the story, of the poem, or natak or natya drama. It is called Vastu dhvani. Alankar dhvani is about alankaras, the embellishment, and Rasa dhvani is about rasa theory. Vakrokti is the theory of language of literature, and Vakrokti is related to the theory of language of literature. According to Kuntak, who was its pioneer, he believed that Vakrokti is a curved utterance. Vakra means curved, and utterance, ukti means utterance. There is no direct language in literature. In literature, the language is always hidden, curved, and you have to find out the meaning, interpret the meaning, and interpretation can be even multiple. So that is called Vakrokti. It has a suggestive power of language. Vakrokti is classified in 6 heads, under 6 heads: Varna, Padapurvardha, Padapurudha, Vakya, Prakarana, and Prabandha. These are the different parts of Vakrokti, which is related to letters, words, sentences, chapters, and forms of art, forms of literature. The concept of Vakrokti embraces dhvani, alankaras, etc. And in Vakrokti also, there are it embraces, it grips dhvani, alankaras, etc. It is the life or the soul of poetry. As Vakrokti is related to dhvani, alankar, and other theories also, it has a quality of the Atma of poetry, the soul of poetry, the life of poetry. Auchitya refers to propriety and appropriateness in literary composition. The word Auchitya comes from Uchita, and Uchita means suitable, matching, befitting, and appropriate. So Auchitya talks about propriety appropriateness in literary composition. In this theory, it is believed that the language should be proper, dialogue should be proper, plot should be proper, the background should be proper, setting should be proper, and all proper parts creates auchitya in literature. It was a pronoun. It was propounded by Kshemendra. And the Kshemendra, a Kashmiri scholar, propounded this theory called auchitya. And as I told you, auchitya refers to matching or appropriate or harmonious blending of different parts of literary work. When a poem is written, the chandas, meter should be proper, rhythm should be proper, the theme should be proper, and everything should be so compact and beautiful that it becomes uchita. So, Kshemendra's idea of auchitya refers to appropriateness of literary work. Gunadosh refer to the merits and blemishes, and the theory of Gunadosh refers to merits, qualities, and blemishes, shortcomings. Gunas create good literature, doshas generate bad, defective literature. And we know that when there are no gunas, good literature cannot be created. When there are doshas, the literature becomes defective, literature becomes bad and unreadable, unenjoyable. Not only that, it creates many bad impact on the readers. And that is why gunas are necessary in literature. If you read any novel or a story, you find that if there are good qualities, the work of art will impact your mind, your heart, and provide you aesthetic pleasure. On the other hand, literary work with doshas will create bad impact on the readers. So that is why guna doshas are important from literary point of view. Bharat Muni enumerated 10 gunas. Slesa, that is pun, the double meaning of a single word, double or more, multiple meaning. Prasada, samata, samadha, madhurya, sweetness, ojas, saukumarya, artha, uddata, and kanti. These were the 10 gunas described by Bharat Muni. He also enumerated 10 doshas. Gunadhartha, arthantar. Arthantar means it is far from the meaning. Meaning is not easily understood. Arthantar, artha, antar. Arthahina. Arthantar is far from meaning and arthahina is without meaning. Tautology. Tautology is unnecessary repetition of words. For example, when we say, I am happy, I am not unhappy. Now, when you said, I am happy, it is enough. You don't need to say, I am happy, I am not unhappy. It is called tautology in English. Different meaning. Sometimes there are different meanings. Then abhilupartha, logical defect. Logical defect is the defect of presentation of some idea in which there is no logical rationality. Visandhi and slang. Slang is the folk language. Very often it is not regarded as standard language, and that is why it is one of the doshas of literary style, literary work, literary diction, literary language. Anandavardhan reduced 10 doshas to 3: Prasad, Ojas and Madhurya. Anandavardhan took only 3 gunas: Prasad, Ojas and Madhurya. He discarded other 7. He didn't discuss all the 10 gunas, but took only 3: Prasad, Ojas and Madhurya. Bhoja was also a king who was a great poet also. Bhoj enumerated 48 gunas, 24 Shabda gunas and 24 Artha gunas. Bhoj enumerated 48 gunas, 24 Shabda guna and 24 Artha guna. That is totally 48 gunas. Mammat presented 3 gunas: Prasad, Ojas and Madhurya. Like Anandavardhan, he did not discuss other gunas. He said that these 3 gunas are the essence of poetry. They are Prasad, Ojas and Madhurya. Prasad gun can be understood quickly. Now what is Prasad gun? Prasad gun is simple. It can be understood quickly. Ojas creates vigor and zeal in the bhavakas. And Ojas is brilliant, powerful, and it creates vigor, zeal in the bhavakas. Madhurya creates sweetness. The word Madhura is connected with Madhurya, and Madhurya creates sweetness. Gunas are absences of blemishes. What are gunas? Gunas have no blemishes at all. They are pure, 100% pure. These 100% pure are called gunas. Guna and dosh theory presents only 2 aspects of literary works: style, language and diction. In guna and dosh theory, there are 2 major aspects: style of the language, style of the work of art, and language. Diction is the part of language. So style and language, style and diction. Good literature must avoid all kinds of blemishes. Good literature should not have any doshas. It should be without dosha, and without dosha only good literature can be generated. So we end our video lecture number 13 on Guna-dosha theory. As I told you, Guna-dosha theory is important aspect of human nature, human life. It is also related to literature. However, it is not a major theory like rasa or auchitya or vakrokti or alankara, but it is necessary because without gunas, nothing good happens. And with dosha only, the problems are created. So, Gunadosh theory explanation is over now. Thank you very much. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परः